What is up there everyone, it's the guy with no gamertag here, and today I wanted to talk about the score streaks in Black Ops 3. Now the gameplay in the background you're seeing is a team deathmatch where I actually went 15-0. This really surprised me because I very rarely go flawless, let alone have a half decent score when flawless. Normally my flawless games are like 2-0 or 4-0, but this game actually went really well. And I decided to use the really lowest streaks in the game. I was actually split screening when I was playing this, and I decided to go for the RCXD, the UAV and the care package, and it actually worked out in my favour quite a lot. I almost never would have used the RC car, but actually I'm surprised at how effective it can be if you use it right. I've found so many times if you've been shot and you run around a corner, you can quickly deploy this and drive it around the corner and it can get you a kill, which is quite satisfying when you do it because you realise you've just about managed to outplay them. However, at the same time, it's not the most overpowered streak, simply because your enemies can shoot them fairly easily. If you've run out of your boosts or your jumps, you can't evade it and they can just straight up shoot you, and I had a lot of moments where my car got destroyed simply because I wasn't able to move out of their fire. But what I wanted to talk about is what my general opinion of the score streaks in this game are. There's been a lot of debate, are they too strong, are they too weak, are they just right? In my opinion, they're just right. I really like them. I think they do a good amount of work so that they're rewarding to use and they don't feel wasted like they did in Advanced Warfare and to an extent in Call of Duty Ghosts, but at the same time they don't feel totally destructive to the point where someone could camp and get a quick kill streak and then they could dominate the game and change the entire flow of the game to their advantage simply by maybe using cheap tactics to obtain them. This was a big problem in Call of Duty Ghosts for me. I played a lot of domination and so many people would camp or spawn trap to get chem strikes and they would win the game for their team despite the fact they disregarded all the flags. They wouldn't have a single capture to their name and yet their team would win because this one person had been using really cheap tactics to get a kill streak which would change the game into their favour. Now I can get why they're rewarding. In games like Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 2, the streaks went absolutely in and they would destroy the enemy team if you use them correctly. And that was so rewarding. That is why so many people hold those games dear to them, is that they streaks were amazing and so fun to use when you got them. However, at the same time, there's one streak that's always caused problems for the balance of kill streaks, and that is the care package. And the reason why this is a problem is the last thing you want is maybe someone to get an early streak at the beginning of the game, and then they call in a care package, they get the highest streak in the game, and then you as the people on the receiving end of this streak have no way to come back in the game. That always felt unfair. You find so many times people get a lucky hater or a wraps on the care package, and sometimes that can just completely change the flow of the game, and your team has no chance of coming back. However, the streaks in Black Ops 3, in my opinion, aren't so powerful that this is the case. Yeah, a hater is still really annoying to play up against if someone gets it out of a care package, but at the same time it can be shot down, although fairly difficultly. And I will admit, I don't play for high streaks. I'm not the kind of player who can get a high kill streak consistently, so I don't feel the reason to use them. I know that although I might be able to get one every now and then, I'll more consistently be able to get low to mid kill streaks, which would do better for my team because I can more consistently do well and get a better score. Whereas the higher streaks I'd be much less likely to get them, and so the reward isn't quite as high as the risk, which is why I don't usually play for them. So I don't have the experience in saying whether I think they're actually good for the reward, because a lot of people find that it takes so long to get them and they don't reward them enough. I've seen a lot of gameplays from people where the GI unit does very little, the Cerberus does little, and I actually think this is partly down to where people are placing them. Whenever I get a Cerberus, I always wait until I can either put it in the middle of the map or I can put it where the enemy team is roughly spawning. This way the Cerberus can get the most amount of kills for me. A lot of people find it useful to control them, but I don't want to do that. A lot of the people that I find saying that the streaks do nothing or just have these really weird AI moments, because I will admit, I've seen videos where the AI in these streaks seems to be completely and utterly derpy, and it will just keep walking between the two different buildings that it's nearest to, and do absolutely nothing for them. But I find that a lot of the people, they put it in the back of the map where their team is spawning, so then it's not actually seeking anyone out, and of course it's not going to get any kills. But at the same time, I do get that they do want to be rewarded. They've put in a lot of work and gotten a lot of score to get that streak. They want it to go in and do some work for them, and maybe it doesn't quite live up to that. And I personally think that generally the streaks are very balanced. I like them. I think they're good because they don't alter the game so drastically that the other team won't have a chance to come back. It doesn't make it so that it's a completely air-dominated game or streak-dominated game. If you have good gun skill and good positioning and you know how to use different parts of the map to your advantage, you can still do well even even if someone gets a really high end streak, as long as you know how to play the situation. I personally find this adds a little bit more skill to the game, and it doesn't make it down to the fact that whoever gets their streaks first is going to win. It makes it a little bit more dependent on how good the actual player is overall. Are they good enough to get the streaks, and are they good enough to counter it when the enemy has streaks? That's something I really like. I like the way that changes the game, and it allows you to not necessarily get steamrolled just because the enemies get their streaks first. And actually, I'm also surprised at the low end streaks. They are actually fairly effective. They aren't completely overpowered, but they do offer some good support for your team without requiring you to get a lot of score, and they are useful for newer players. The RC car is actually very easy to earn sometimes. I found in Domination you could get 1, maybe 2 kills and capture a flag, and you'd have the RC car straight away. That could be really easy if you got an early push on the B flag, and it means you can then use that streak to advantage, and I do like it. I actually was surprised because I would never use the RC car, and I did find it a lot of fun to use. Although I am looking forward to going back to some of the slightly higher streaks like the Hardened Sentry and the Cerberus, because if you position them right, they do some amazing work and I do enjoy them. But what do you guys think? Do you think the streaks are just about right? Do you think they're maybe a little bit underpowered? I admit some of the streaks could be better. I think the Hellstorm from the beta was fine. If they just upped the score so it took a little bit more to earn it, then it would have been balanced. I don't think they should have nerfed it as much as they did. But anyway, this has been the guy with no gamer tag, and I'll see you on another video.